This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hey there, listeners! It's me, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and you're listening to Superconnectivity with my good friend and co-host,
Phil, me, and Perich.
That's the guy. I did that differently than normal, because normally I wait till we do that and then we do the intros after. But you know what? I actually kind of liked it over the music. I don't know. Maybe it seems a little more hip. I don't know. Hey, Philip. Did you watch the Orville?
Of course I did.
Okay. So, for those of you who aren't watching the Orville, spoilers ahead. And, you know, it is she should watch it. Even the Mary Sue says they like the Orville.
Yep.
And they felt bad about saying they liked it. So, that tells you, that maybe there's more to it than what you think. Although, she likes, you know, American Dad, so there's no reason for her not to like the Orville. But,
nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she wants him to do cartoons. She wants to pigeonhole poor Seth MacFarlane. Yeah. It's almost called him Seth McDonald. Oh, hey, we got Norm Macdonald this episode.
As himself, almost, yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was, you know, interesting that, you know, of all the bodies that Seth MacFarlane's character could have picked, and what's it, Lofat? Or his Blob character. Of all the bodies he could have picked, yeah. Norm Macdonald. But, Offit, that's his name. Yes. No, but it was, yeah, so this was a very, very nice episode with no stakes or drama, but all the stakes and drama for the cast. You know, it was a great take on the Data Dates a Girl episode.
Yeah, except it was like, you know, when Data did it, it was just like, you know, unnamed crew member you've never seen before. This time it was actually a member of the crew we see every week.
Oh yeah, and there's a point in that, obviously, that, you know, when you break up with someone in a ship like that, that's gonna cause issues.
As we saw.
You know? As we saw. Issues were caused. And, yeah, but, okay, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. So, as we know, the Dr. Isaac, shipping, it came to full fruition. And, you know, I like the way that their relationship has developed over the episodes. Mm-hmm. And it really shows you that, you know, if you want to get good with a single mom, get with her kids. Not in that way, but, you know, but that's really what builds the relationship. It's the fact that Isaac, you know, is being a caring, thoughtful being towards her children. Now, of course, what I love about that is just the fact that why wouldn't he be? Mm-hmm. You know, it as they say that humans think that one day, robots will rise up and destroy us says way more about humans than it does about robots. Although, for what it's worth, we still don't know who built Isaac's people.
Yeah.
You know, although I think it might be, I'm going to go out there and say, here's my thing, because I think Seth MacFarlane isn't going to make it that they destroyed all the humans. I think it's going to be the classic robosexual line, where basically humans developed super intelligent, super advanced computers, and then eventually died off. That they just died off.
And then the advanced AI built itself bodies.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, some of them had bodies, some of them didn't have bodies. Yeah. Like, if they ever actually go to Isaac's home planet, you're going to see just all kinds of different kinds of robots. Because I get the feeling he was basically designed to interact with humans. That's why he has that humanoid body with 5 fingers.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd think the 26 fingers would be an advantage in playing the piano.
No.
It's not. And also would probably be a lot. First, I'm trying to think how you fit on 26 fingers. But maybe it has multiple limbs, so that might work too. But I don't see how that's going to help the kid with only 5 fingers when to play the piano. But that's a whole. If you haven't seen the episode, there's a lot of references we're making here to it. But no, we really got some nice bits here with Isaac and the Doctor. Both in trying to find their dating and footing and playing with tropes. Not the least of which is the Buffy the Vampire, once we did the deed, now the relationship is over.
Yeah.
It was, and again, shows the idea that what Isaac is trying to encapsulate in this isn't what he thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
That he thought, this is a human relationship. I've experienced a human relationship. I need to do no further research on this. Which of course is ridiculous because he should know that humans mate for prolonged periods of time and that simply doing a 2-date sex on the second date, man, that's an advanced culture. But it was all very interesting, how they played out the story. And like I said, and dealt with the real idea of the fallout that if Data dates someone and then breaks up with someone, that's going to cause issues,
Mm-hmm.
You can't always just hope that, you get your ex gets eaten by a black ooze monster.
No!
In the first season,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, Data carried a torch for Tasha.
And a hologram, yeah.
Yeah, and a hologram. He loved her. In his own way.
I can't believe you rolled over probably your favorite part of the episode. Bortus and the mustache.
Oh, yeah, Bortus and the mustache. Well, here's the thing. Since he said that his species doesn't grow facial hair, I really felt that it would be weird for him to want facial hair.
Yeah. Could that be like an attempt for, he'll never admit it, but Bortus is an attempt to like fit in with the others?
I mean, it could be. And obviously, first off, who takes, I forget the red-haired guy's name, but this show has a ginger, Lilith. How can you not like this show? You gotta support your gingers, Lilith. You gotta support your gingers. But, yeah, I don't know who's taking any advice on that, especially any kind of life advice, because, yeah, he's a really capable pilot, but he's clearly the most in his head character of the group. And we've seen that every time he tries to date someone, and it's horrible.
Oh,
although, again...
Gordon,
yes. And, yeah, I'm forgetting all the characters' names. But, when Isaac looks for dating advice, and Gordon goes to Jim and he's like, I would prefer, I'm blanking on the chief engineer's name, too.
John Lamar.
John Lamar, yeah. It's great the way they played it out, the way they explored things, and the way Isaac adapted, and then how they dealt with the idea that it's hard for him to operate because so many of his subroutines had been adapted to having this person in his life.
In other words, she made him better.
She made him better, yes. And then they got Rain on the Bridge. Although, you know what my favorite thing in that whole Rain on the Bridge scene?
What?
As they pan away, everyone on the crew is looking at this whole love scene, except for the one freaking ensign who's driving the ship in the rain. It's like, yeah, okay. Isaac found love. Wonderful. I'm trying to drive a ship. Being rained on doesn't help it. And even when it's artificial rain, that as soon as he ends the program, will disappear and everyone will be dry again, which is weird when you think about it, but that's essentially how that works. I love that there's one person there that she's just doing her job. And honestly, it must be what it's like when you are that non-member of the crew.
Yes.
It's like, you're like, man, I show up here. I don't talk to these people. This is not I am just on the bridge and I am doing my job. And that took a director, That took a director to say, no, someone has to be driving this ship, and you're the ensign. And I would not be surprised if that ensign does not come back in more stories. Because, especially just the idea that she probably doesn't have any interest in socializing with the main crew cast.
Maybe. Or she might just be like, oh, don't take him back, he's a jerk.
Yeah, well, that could be it too. And honestly, it could still all fall apart, but, it is what it is. I just thought that was a very they put there, and as they do sometimes, because they do tend to introduce characters that are minor and then make them larger in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they had that faceless crew member there. I feel so bad for the guy with the ginormous head, though. You know, the guy who really wants to be everyone's friend.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants to be in the crew, but, like, you know, he so wants to be a part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
But he never gets to be part of the group, you know? And that is...
I got a shirt you can borrow.
Yeah, and not just for your date, just whatever you need, you know? And it's so clear that he just wants to... And they've mentioned that, like, his species just has a hard time interacting with other species because I guess they look at him and say, wow, you got a big head. And it's like,
what?
Yeah. Well, but if you see, you know, universe where maybe big heads are not that common, you know, because it's not like he's like a big, super intelligent head. It's just a big head. For whatever reason, his species evolved with probably, and not for nothing, probably to hit their heads against them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, you know, it's probably like mostly skull, and it can be frustrating when you have that thing that kind of differentiates you. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure, Offit, goes through that too, being a blob. And especially when the doctor, because Offit has been moving towards the doctor, has such a crush on the doctor, and then it's like, oh, come on! Of course, then he tries to swoop in, when she's on the rebound, as he says.
As Norm Macdonald.
As Norm Macdonald, yeah. Okay, and so for those who don't know, so within the story, there's this thing where, Isaac creates this program to sort of give him a human visage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and assumably to make him fully functional, as Data would say. Oh boy. Then of course he does that to give himself a body too. Although again, like I said, he was trying to swoop in there and it just wasn't working, you know, because not for nothing, Offit probably doesn't have what Isaac has. He's not, you know, he probably wants to be sweet and kind, but he's really, I don't know. Offit, I think, just has difficulties with it. And also the fact that Offit probably does mostly just want the doctor for her body. Whereas Isaac, you know, he actually liked the family unit and he liked all the qualities of this family that he got to be a part of.
I was gonna say, plus different alien races probably have different mating rituals and, you know. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Offit might be completely sweet on his planet, but you know, that's the thing. And again, to our big head guy, it's like, you know, sometimes how you are doesn't translate well. I mean, look at the Mocklins, and it's like, you know, Mocklin divorced, stab mother asleep. You know, it's like, no, that's just, you know, he wanted a divorce. That's how we divorce, you know. Or that Mocklin game where this knife stabs you in the hand. And that's how you win, if you get the knife. You know, it's hot potato, but it's like, you know, whoever holds it on the longest, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that is crazy. The Mocklins are an interesting people. I like me the Mocklins. Mm-hmm. They're such an interesting take on things. But it's gonna be interesting when we do eventually get to Isaac's home world. Although theoretically, he could be planning on being in the Union for like 500 years. You know? Like, no, what, you think I could get all of human knowledge in like 2 seasons? No, you know? Although maybe I'll say, well, no, of course I've already absorbed everything about you guys. Now I have to go and we will discuss whether or not, you know, I gotta think that's gonna be at least a season 3 or season 5 capper if they're gonna do that. But if they decide not to do it, then it's just like, no, my mission is going to be for 500 years. Because there's a lot of species in the Union and I've only met one, you know, or one group of them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it depends how long that body's made to last, because that's, you know, when humans die, their body, you know, it's only made to last, you know, a couple decades. That would be interesting if he's like, you know, after a couple hundred years, he's like, okay, I've learned everything I can about humanity. Now what? Yeah.
Well, interesting. He's already lived 700 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they again dated him, but did him in a much more interesting way, where he actually interacted with a culture for 700 years. And one of the things I noticed, because I was rewatching that episode the other day, and because I actually rewatched this episode, these shows, because they're actually really good. And you notice when they meet the new alien, they all kind of have like little Isaac mannerisms to them in the way that they talk. Because he's still an advanced being, and he's still, and he sort of guides them into the future. So they really, really influence that world. But I guess they felt they had to. And I like that episode too, because they do make the point, look, if it wasn't you, it would have been, the Bluebird of Happiness had, that we said was our God. And we'd be killing people in the name of the Bluebird of Happiness. I didn't say the Bluebird of Happiness, I'm just using.
Yeah.
That's how I said it. I'm not an advanced being like them. I'm still from the stupid ages. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the Orville, man. I really like this show. It's a great human story.
Oh, yeah.
About people on the spaceship. I mean, I will say this. I'm hoping we get to a little more action. But this was a nice non-action episode. Because obviously the crew can't get captured every episode.
I know. I thought when they were taking readings on that star, something was going to go wrong. But it was like, yeah, get us out of here. Okay. Everything went smoothly. Yeah.
Well, because most of the time probably things do go smoothly. You know?
Yeah.
You got to remember, in outer space, it's mostly just outer space. It's mostly just nothing. You can't run into an anomaly every week. At least not during the second season. First season, they pretty much did that. No. Every episode was some new adventure, and now we're taking a little slow, but we have had a lot of adventure. But like I said, the whole Jilliak episode, it was good, and we do get the weight of the characters getting captured and them sort of having to deal with how did they deal with this? Because it's like, should they break out? Are they going to cause more problems if they break out? If they get captured? If they get broken out? That was a very neat episode as well. But
I know, but if it was Next Generation, Bortus's mustache would have activated like his dormant T cell or something, and it would have become sentient or something.
Oh, sentient mustaches! They would have just no. But you know what? The Tick cartoon already did that. Do you remember when the Tick got a mustache? It became sentient. Yeah. Sure. You can always have something horrible go wrong. I kind of like the fact that nothing horrible went wrong, because that would have been just too out. I was waiting for maybe, the follicle stimulation, like to grow hair other places. And again, do Knocklins even have hair?
I don't know.
I guess he has follicles, so they must have some kind of hair. Yeah. And I like the fact that their son, liked the mustache.
Yes.
I like it, Papa. Yeah. My boys like my mustache. That's one of the main reasons I keep it right now. That, and I have a mug that references my mustache, so I kind of feel like when I'm drinking from my coffee mug, I have to have a mustache because it says to respect the stash. That was the Orville. A lot of stuff could have gone wrong, but what really went wrong was the fact that human interactions went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that the real thing we're exploring? That and stars. Anyway, let's see, what else? Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got our teaser trailer. And Phil Coulson is dead. Or is he?
Ooh, I know.
Ooh, we have our first mystery. Because they did use Phil Coulson heavily in their promos, even as they opened it up with saying, I was with him at the end, and Phil Coulson is dead. Although maybe he's got like some Immortal Hulk thing going now, and like once he dies, he's like back from the dead because got that Kree something going on, and maybe that's
that or his brain's in an LMD.
Oh, could be could do an LMD, or we get Peggy Carter showing up at the very end, saying, "Yeah, you're too valuable to lose right now, Phil. Have some Infinity Formula." Because I tell you. They're bringing her back as old Peggy Carter to be the Nick Fury, to be Nick Fury's boss. It's all so perfectly set up. Even the faking of her death. Like Fury did in the first 2 movies ago. I guess I ought to go fake my death.
Like in Winter Soldier, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's like, people fake their deaths all the time. But I'm glad to have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back. We've got some new thing, and they don't seem to be Inhumans. They don't seem to be aliens, but they all have special powers. Almost as if there's some sort of
mutant
factor. Yeah, some sort of mutation that has occurred. And, that's interesting. We don't got much on them. Although, interestingly enough, weirdly enough, I think the powers we saw, one of them was had fire powers and stuff like that. So, sort of like the elementals in Far From Home.
That's what I was thinking,
yeah, maybe there's more to that, It's going to be interesting how they explore these things. Now, this comes out after Infinity War, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, so we get Captain Marvel, Infinity War, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Endgame.
I'm sorry, Avengers 4, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Infinity War 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh.
Like I said, it's not Endgame if you don't have extra dimensional beings coming in. Which, it's fine if they do. If here's what I'll say, they can call it Endgame if the Grandmaster becomes central to the plotline. Then I'll say, okay, let's see where this goes.
Not to take us too far off course, but last night when we were in Walmart, I saw I think it was for younger readers, it was like a Captain Marvel mission log, so I was paging through it to see if I saw anything interesting. It went over some of the characters and stuff, but it's basically in Carol's words. I think it says she doesn't remember anything before her, her 6th birthday.
But she does remember her 6th birthday.
Or I don't think she said the birthday, but she said before 6 she doesn't remember anything.
Okay, well, but she remembers when she was a child, so
I guess, yeah.
Or she has flashes of memory. I wonder if this is their interesting way of sort of dealing with the fact that when Rogue stole her powers and put her into that coma.
Oh, maybe.
That when she came out of it, she had her memories but had no emotional attachments to it.
Maybe.
So maybe this is their way to sort of incorporate that into the Captain Marvel mythos. That she is sort of separate. Her memory is just data but no emotion. Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting idea.
And she mentions the Skrulls, which I found interesting because, one, she said when they shapeshift, they're hard to detect because their DNA and everything changes, and also she said when they don't even have to touch the person. She said when they shapeshift into another person, they kind of get recent memories also. So I'm wondering if
that's interesting.
I wonder if Skrulls are going to be low-level telepaths or something.
Yeah, or they just, they're going to be incorporating that concept of from Secret Invasion, where they not only became that person, that they had to become that person, which makes sense if you are this. I was reading something, or actually I might have seen it online recently, that I guess in the new concept of the Skrulls is that they used to be peaceful until they met the Kree, and I'm wondering if that's going to be part of the story, is that the Skrulls eventually became the, tyrannical war-obsessed culture because they were attacked by the Kree, because the Kree decided to add them to their empire. And, because like I said, I guarantee you just got to look at how they, not for nothing, that's a very pale shade of green they gave those Skrulls.
Yeah.
This isn't classic Kirby Skrull green. This is this is kind of like sparkly vampire green. This is meant to be, they have intentionally made the Skrulls look more appealing. Mm-hmm. And so I guarantee you by the end of this, you're going to be sitting there saying the Skrulls aren't the bad guys, which is a mistake because the Skrulls are the bad guys, but so were the Kree. And you actually realize that, oh my goodness, it's every planet for itself.
And the last big thing I thought I saw, remember we were saying, who's Annette Bening playing? Maybe her mother. It might be that, but it also might be something else because it looks like we might be getting the Supreme Intelligence if they go by this book. But Carol says something funny, how the Supreme Intelligence, everyone sees it differently. And when she sees the Supreme Intelligence, she sees this older woman.
Oh, so, that's interesting.
So I'm wondering if it's her subconscious saying, hey, go find your mother, or,
or
the Supreme Intelligence is doing it on purpose, but yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Everyone sees it differently, and it takes the form to most put you at ease. Which is probably better than just a giant giant glowing green head floating in a vat.
Yes.
It's what the Supreme Intelligence usually looks like. Which, really, I've never got that's the form I shall take. Just a giant head with dreadlocks.
I mean, I get it, because I think in those early appearances, weren't they like, oh, it's the greatest minds of the Kree, like, in history, hooked together, and...
Yeah, well, that's what the classic Supreme Intelligence is. It's like every great leader of the Kree that gets uploaded into the system. That's why, like, later, and recently they uploaded, captured Reed Richards to it. Mm-hmm. Because Reed Richards always spoils their plans.
So, I mean, back in the day, how did they visually portray, great intelligence, big heads? I mean, look at MODOK.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, it was a very sci-fi comic booky kind of design, mm-hmm. But I like the idea that they give it a little Galactus quality, and hey, it gives them a way to cast the Supreme Intelligence with a female actress.
Yeah.
One more female actress on the pile. So, yeah. But that's cool, and maybe it is saying find your mother, or there's stuff you don't know about your mom if they decide to go that comic book route. See, and Ventus had nothing to do with that, and that was a reveal. I have got to say that was just disappointing.
Because they did that for some reason because of the movie. I'm calling it out.
Yeah, I don't. It's just like, oh, she was actually half Kree the whole time. It's
no.
I don't know, man. It's here's what I'll say. It's like, as I've said, upon later recognition, the realization that Tony Stark's parents were just a couple of randos is actually a little more satisfying, because it reinforces the idea that you make yourself who you are.
Exactly.
You don't have to be the son. Yeah, you don't have to be the son of Nathaniel Richards just to be a super genius.
That's what I was going to say. Instead of an accident of birth, I liked how it was like an accident, and then she had to take what happened to her in this accident and build herself into this hero.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With her. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about Tony Stark for a minute there, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like that idea, that she does, that, yeah, it is a chance item that she gets exposed to Psyche Magatron.
It just seems like in the modern comic book storytelling, every major character now has to have like this big conspiracy in their past, or they were connected to so-and-so character from, elsewhere in the universe, and it's just like, you don't need to do that with everyone. I don't mind someone just being ordinary until they get their powers and nothing,
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think, as I've always said, I think the random nature of superheroism is a selling point, not a failure of it. Yeah. And I think this idea to move towards the Harry Potterization of every superhero is the chosen one, And you know who I blame for that?
Who?
Spider-Man.
What?
Yeah, because, Spider-Man used to be just randomized Peter Parker, and anyone could get bit by the Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Like, no, the web of destiny, and da-da-da, and everything is connected, and it's this great spider totem spirit. It's like, couldn't he just been a radioactive spider bite that could have bitten anyone? Could have bit J. Jonah Jameson?
Exactly.
That's the universe I want to see in the next Spider-Verse.
I'm a menace.
Well, no, because he'd use his powers for good.
I know.
And he'd use his paper, Clark Kent style, say, this Spider-Man is a hero to all of the city.
Oh, how interesting would that be if, like, high school student Peter Parker started, like, this online campaign, Spider-Man's a menace.
Yes, Oh, see, that's a book I would read. That is a book I would read. Oh. Because it would be amazing to see that. It'd be nice. It's great as a concept, and then there's all sorts of things you can explore with it. Mm-hmm. Especially finding out why Peter Parker came to hate Spider-Man. And it might have something to do with Uncle Ben getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, that guy's going to shoot Uncle Ben whether he's Spider-Man or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it could just be this idea that when he realizes, that there's this superhero that's out there, says he's protecting the city, but where was he for my Uncle Ben, It doesn't even have to be an active action by J. Jonah Jameson. It just has to be a quality that he realizes that his uncle is dead in this crime-ridden world, and these people are running around pretending to be heroes, but really, what are they? Just glory seekers. Then he starts his blog. The most powerful thing in the universe. My blog, where I will explain why Spider-Man is a menace. And that would get so picked up in this day and age,
So eventually, years and years down the road, Otto Octavius would take control of J. Jonah Jameson's body?
Well, no, in this one, who knows, maybe even Otto Octavius is a force for good, because he never has that accident. Or he doesn't feel obligated to become a supervillain when he gains the power of his arms. He just decides to go back to work, Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what Otto might do in that universe? Everything's different. Everything's higgledy-piggledy in that universe. So
that's right.
But I like that universe, and I hope someone writes that up, or they hire me to, or they ask me to, and I do it for free.
Ooh, so, Peter Parker could invent spider slayers.
Yes. Oh, he could invent anything. Man invented web shooters. Let's be honest. He's a scientific genius just waiting to happen. He is. See, and that was the other great thing about Peter Parker. Just like, I liked it better when his parents were spies. I don't know why his parents are scientists now.
Yeah, like in some of the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think in the comics they're still spies. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that they were killed by the 50s Red Skull. I think that was pretty cool. Who was one of Scourge's first victims, by the way. Yes, which made the whole reason that they all got tied back to Johann Schmidt all the more interesting. That the 50s Red, because he stole his look, man.
Yep, he broke him out of jail and shot him dead.
Yep. Which is something the Red Skull would do. Oh, anyway, what else is going on? So,
you want to do any comics?
Yeah, let's talk comics. I did read one that I haven't gotten to read yet. Actual Roger is pretty good. A little disappointing, although I guess I understand why they're doing this. The first, short story that got me interested, that's actually, the first 5 pages of the book. So it's the exact same story that I originally read, but then we get to the actual Roger, and it is interesting. And yes, as predicted, so basically, then this is neat. So he starts flying around, and he's flying about a foot off the ground. He picks up his little girlfriend, flies around the city, and then basically, people mobilize, because you can't just be running around with superpowers, kid. We don't kind to that, and we get the copters and the tanks out right away. We get Buckminster. What was his name? Buckminster Silvestri. Buck Silvestri. There, he's our handler for the government, and and his friend George can read minds. And then we get to see Clay here. Here's Clay. As anticipated, he does turn. No spoilers. He does turn to Clay, and he really wants to be a superhero too, which is also kind of interesting because really Roger doesn't necessarily want to be a superhero. I mean, he's gone into this life, but because basically Clay wants them to be best friends forever. A little bit stalkery Clay, but he's like, tell them that I have superpowers too, so they can bring me in. Now he does, true to his word, he does tell them, but I got to think that there's going to be something that goes on there where when his friend gets brought in, there is issues. We get to meet Magnanimo. That's our superhero, who is the most powerful superhero. Obviously, he has some sort of magnet's power, and he is magnanimous. That's why he's Magnanimo. And he's sort of dealing with Roger, because they say you need a sidekick for PR reasons. But his powers are that he can only fly 2 feet off the ground. And it's not the best superpower yet, so. But,
So what issue is that?
This is issue 1.
Cool.
Issue 1 of the actual Roger from Alterna Comics. And stop! Before you put down this comic book, find your actual local comic store. And they give you a list of every place that they're being sold. So yeah, find your actual comic store and go pick up a comic book, kids. And pick up Alterna Comics because hey, this isn't feeding into the Disney AT&T hegemony, man.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to support those corporate overlords. You can just support real independent comic books with superheroes on pulp paper. So yeah, so really like that. We should talk Doctor Strange.
Yes, Doctor Strange.
Which I could have to say definitely my pick of the week.
Issue 10, which was kind of 400th issue anniversary.
400th issue anniversary, yeah. Well, they gotta have reason. And we get to meet the Accountant of Magic.
Yep.
My new favorite character in the MCU. And I love just how he is actually not trying. He's actually trying to be helpful, but Doctor Strange just won't listen to him. Which actually kind of explains why Doctor Strange is able to basically punch him.
No.
Literally, and you get the feeling like the Accountant of Magic probably could have destroyed Strange at any point during this entire conversation, but just wants to explain to him that he's got debts he has to pay.
That's what he said.
He's a bill collector, man.
He said the bill's coming due. I'm the one who took your powers, trying to help you, but you had to go out into space and learn all this, new mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, and you get the feeling he's being all kind of rude about the whole thing. So yeah.
But you did say you were getting in the accountant's office, you're getting those time variance authorities vibes. I was getting that too before you said it. So I was like,
what I said is I like it better than the time variance authority because this actually seems like a much more efficient run organization and much less. I don't know. I guess the time variance authority always kind of strikes me as so as an example, if you did get the chance to be Exile, they have a great thing in here because we have the evil Watchers in this storyline, and basically, they're mad because they feel like, oh, you're ruining the timeline, you Exiles, jumping from universe to universe. And it's like, no, we're not ruining the timeline. You're ruining the timeline by saying the timeline can't have people trying to fix things, that could go into that Future Man concept of, you can't ever actually fix things. Very sad. Nate has to stay behind in his fractured universe, all this kind of stuff. It's a good book. Basically, all of the basically, if you've been reading the books at all, they go back to confront the Watchers, and they basically say, yeah, we killed all of the people we sent against you. We just sent them back to oblivion. But they accomplished the purpose. You're here. Just stand your trial, yada, yada, yada. And they try to fight the Watchers, and the Watchers are like, ain't having that. And they sort of trap them all in their own nightmare universes where, Wakanda falls, and Peggy Carter gets captured by Baron Zemo, who uses her blood to make super soldiers who take over Europe. Bucky's is the worst, man. Bucky's a housewife. Or Becky, I'm sorry. Becky Barnes she has to live as a World War II housewife, and
oh my,
has an abusive husband, all this stuff. Asgard falls because really that was too damn dark. We had to get to something a little more colorful, so we have the fall of Asgard for Valkyrie. And this one I loved. Little Wolby goes to the X-Men 90s cartoon, and he says everyone's so shouty and yelly, but I do like that music though. Blank is basically in Age of Apocalypse, basically where she came from. So it's not like her original universe was that great shape. But she finds the Talos, gets back, finds Nate, and Nate's horrible dream is that he actually does become king. And that's his horror of a universe. And then she comes and saves him. He says, look, you can't save me because as soon as you save me, we're just put right back in. It's a time loop, yada, yada, yada. So he has to stay behind when they get out. But they do get out. Then the actual Watchers show up, Deus Ex Machina style. I think that's Uetu's wife, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because I guess she's, ever since Uetu died, there's a lot going on. They capture the evil Watchers. They send our teammates back. Although, hey, that's something for the next time we bring the Exiles back. And we see that Kamala actually is back in another universe. I don't know. I don't quite remember exactly how they did that, but Kamala isn't dead. She's in a universe where her husband didn't die, and she was able to reach back out to them because her child has powers to make dreams reality, because that's not going to end poorly. And then they all have a great time, and so now, and this is interesting, so now we have one more super soldier in the 616, assuming this is all 616 universe, which we have no reason to think it's not. Peggy Carter Captain America is now in the 616 universe.
Ooh.
With her own Captain America Indestructible Shield. We have Valkyrie from Ragnarok there. She's dating Becky. Becky Barnes. And, yeah, they're all in this universe now. As well as also we have a second T'Challa now. Because now we have T'Challa from the Cowboy universe is in this. So it's interesting that, these guys are all here now. And that's a thing. And, you can't unmake these things. So they're all in existence in this universe. And that's it. And that would be interesting if, young hot Cap meets young hot Peggy Carter.
Oh.
Who's also a super soldier. And wacky. Although I don't think we're going to get that crossover anytime soon under Ta-Nehisi Coates' watch.
No, Captain America 7, no.
No, this is a dark story. But I like it, and I like Bucky beating up on some of my favorite Spider-Man villains, the Enforcer.
Yes.
Oh, you think we might get the Enforcers in Far From Home?
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, just some extra characters. I actually think the Tinkerer is coming back in this. Because people forget the Tinkerer escaped in Homecoming. He's the one part of the Vulture's crew that got away. So it wouldn't be surprised if the Tinkerer is the one who's helping out Mysterio to set him up. And that maybe we're going to see the Vulture is sort of plotting this all from behind prison walls,
Mm-hmm.
Could be. But, yeah, this was a really good book. The art is fantastic. I mean, Lilith, if you want a book with good art, check this out. I mean, it is really beautiful art and just a fantastic story. Breaks poor Ox's leg.
Oh, yeah.
It gets violent, man. And the owl. Now, this is one thing that was kind of weird to me. Like, they play weird with the owl sometimes. Sometimes I think the owl is like kind of like a penguin-style superhero. He's kind of like, intelligent and puts on affects. And here he's like, kind of maybe he took too many blows in the head from Daredevil. I don't know, but he definitely seems like they dumped down the owl for this episode. Yeah,
his characterization's always kind of wonky, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Cap gives Sharon the shield.
Because everyone seems to be after it when they want him to turn himself in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's really the shield. It's because the shield is the symbol, and then of course maybe you can John Walker it and get your own Captain America. Mm-hmm. And we see she's at an event with Wilson Fisk, and she rocks on and Hammer, celebrating, some new private school. And Nick Fury Jr., man, is interrogating him. So I thought that was interesting. But I guess, hey, you know what? He doesn't fight for a president. He fights for a country. And who are you to say you're the guy fighting for the country? And then we get to see Sharon's got her own team.
Yes.
Now, I recognize Mockingbird. Of course, Sue Storm, Misty Knight, Spider-Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that's then there's 3 other women, and I don't really know exactly who each of them is.
The one in back in the white is White Tiger.
Oh, that is. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see her stripes. So that's White Tiger. The
one crouching next to Spider-Woman is Echo. She was in Daredevil for a while. I think Bendis did stuff with her in the Avengers too. She's a deaf person, so it's kind of like Daredevil, but instead of no sight, she has no hearing.
Okay.
She's like a Bendis thing, and he did a bunch with her.
Okay.
But yeah, that last one on the left, I don't know. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here. And just throwing this out there, if I was writing this book, which I'm not, that would be Fiona Fitzhugh.
Okay.
Fiona Fitzhugh, she is a character introduced in the Marvel Apes series.
Mm.
And she's like this, she is basically a super science grad student who basically created a method to find out from what other dimension your powers come from. Something that actually other people have picked up on a bit here and there. And she cause she needs to find superheroes to experiment on, and there's not that many, so she actually gets the Gibbon. The Gibbon volunteers, and she actually starts a relationship with the Gibbon. And they open up a portal to the Ape universe, and that's how we first get to the Ape universe. We also see that in that universe, Sue Storm has been horribly mutated to look like a gigantic bald ape. She looks like regular Sue Storm, but in the world of apes, she is hideous. It's irony. But yeah,
I mean, I found it really interesting what Ta-Nehisi was cooking up here when Steve's ready to turn himself in, and he says, how can I claim to serve my country when I'm constantly opposing it? The Civil War, and even as Nomad and the Captain when he quit a couple times.
Oh yeah, well, and it does bring up the fact that he's always been at odds with the government.
Well, yeah, I think even like Mark Waid had years and years ago had him say, he's like, I don't represent the American government. I represent the American people. My whole mission is to help people, give them the freedom to realize their own American dream.
Yeah, and that is, and what's an interesting take, especially coming from Ta-Nehisi Coates, because there is this sort of trope out there about Americanism, and whether or not there can be an ideal of America that, like, when you say, as people, we've all seen where someone says, this is un-American, and says, no, this is exactly what America is. We're just, at best you can say sometimes we don't acknowledge it, and now we can't ignore it. But this is very much everything America has been for hundreds of years. Slavery, it's oppression, it's all these horrible things. But there is also within that this idea that America wants to be better. There's a reason why it says to make a more perfect union. Because it is something that we're trying to be more than what we are, and it is moving towards something that is better. Is the hope, is the ideal of those slave-owning rich white men from, nearly 300 years ago. So, and it's interesting, and of course Sharon does say that, you represent the American ideal, and it's like, well, do I? What is the American ideal? So there's a lot of introspection in what America is, and what Ta-Nehisi is writing, and I like that. I like everything he's doing with it. I really like this. This I will say is probably the best issue of his run, in my opinion. Yeah. It does have its action, but it's really about the people involved in the action. Again, going back to like what we were saying about the Orville, it's more about the people than it is about the action and what goes on in it. So, that was a really great book. I think we can all agree. Captain of Nothing. Maybe this was my favorite. I get torn because like my super nerd side really loved Doctor Strange and the Magical Accountant. My literary side, this was literature. This is like this is what comic book literature looks like, Alan Moore.
Oh jeez, take a drink. I know you probably didn't read it, but did you read Amazing Spider-Man 14?
I did not get the chance to. Oh, and Rhino's in it. Oh,
yeah.
Man,
hey, you like the Miles Morales team up? He teams up with Peter Parker.
Oh, cool.
Against
against
Taskmaster and Black Ant. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, Taskmaster and Black. I love those two. They're great. They're a great supervillain duo. Black Ant's a robot, which is cool about Black Ant. Here's I have loved Rhino ever since. Actually, I've loved Rhino ever since he first fought the Thing. And that is actually Scourge's first appearance, just to bring it all back. Because he kills Miracle Man.
Oh.
Who was the villain in Fantastic Four #3, if I recall correctly. He had hypnosis powers! Gestures hypnotically. And so that was the, I forget which issue of Thing that was, but that was when he's heading out west and the bus breaks down. And basically, they're escorting the Rhino out of Project Peg. And this is where you first get this idea that has kind of defined Rhino's sense. That living inside Rhino skin is horrible.
Oh, yeah, because he said he couldn't feel anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just on every level. And if you ever get the chance to read the Flowers for Rhino arc, which was, they did a bunch of little villain stories, but the Flowers for Rhino still is probably my favorite comic book ever written. Mm-hmm. Where you actually get to see, he's got to sleep on cinder blocks, and he's got this little hoist to get him out of bed, and it's and just how everyone sees him as a joke, and how, it's kind of like the Thing story, but without being able to live in a penthouse.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, that sort of thing. Like, if the Thing didn't have Reed Richards as his best friend to sort of create the Fantastic Four so his friend wouldn't feel like a monster, the Thing could have wound up in a really bad spot. And so I'm loving a little bit of redemption for the Rhino right now. I hope they do more with that, man. I hope he joins up with Superior Spider-Man. Oh, the Rhino Superior Spider-Man team up. That'll be great. Yes. He wasn't put into his Sinister Six, was he? Or his Superior Six? I don't think the Rhino was part of that.
No.
I think he might have been dead for a little while at that point. Good. So there's not a lot of bad blood between him and Otto. Yeah, no. So that's good. Like, Electro ain't going to join up with him, but I could see Rhino totally joining up with him, especially if the pay's good, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that'll get us our nice Spider-Man trifecta. We get our Miles team up, our Peter team up, and now Superior team up, you know?
There you go.
Can't wait for Cosmic Spider-Man, though, next week.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ben, answer my phone so you can talk to Woody, and then go downstairs. No, come on, just answer the phone. You guys got to go with your grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Anyway. Kids today, yes.
Yeah, but, I know yesterday you were talking about Marvel Knights number 6.
Oh, Marvel Knights number 6. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, it was interesting the way they explore it. They really don't. I mean, I guess maybe their cop out is the reason Fisk was able to survive it all was because it was just a Doom bot.
Yeah.
But yeah, hats, coats, and gloves, guys. Okay, here. Sorry. Yeah, they're grumpy. They have to go on an adventure with their grandparents. And the reveal that Karen Page is actually just part of the system. I don't know, Ben. Just look around for him.
But yeah, like she's like some sort of program or something.
Yeah, I mean that was great.
Yeah, I kind of.
And again, see, and this is kind of annoying to me in its own right because so after surviving full-on repulsor blasts from Doom,
Daredevil can take out Fisk with like one punch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. Just goes to show Kung Fu is the greatest superpower.
I mean, you could always say, especially with his senses, he could hit like certain pressure points, and like he didn't knock him out, maybe just like paralyzed him for a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's not really the Sentry; it's actually just the program of the clock to keep the Sentry hidden. And I love that the Punisher basically shoots Dr. Banner to turn him into the Hulk. He says, how'd you know that would, I don't know, Ben, wherever you took him off last.
Yeah, how did you know that would not kill Dr. Banner? And Punisher's just like, that guy's a doctor?
Yeah, okay, I think about to wrap this up to help these boys find boots. Any final thoughts on tonight's books or movies or anything, Philip?
No, most of the stuff was good. There was a lot of good stuff this week.
Well, yeah, it's a golden age of comic books and a golden age of television. Honestly, I don't know how we managed to look out with living in an era of this great of pop culture. Okay. But we did! So yay us.
Yay.
Yay, pop culture. Okay, Philip, if people would like to reach out to you and talk to you and find out about what there is to do, how can they reach out to you?
You can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com, and on Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp.
Okay, and of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned way. There are miles and possible instead at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. eventually. And, maybe sometimes the Orville or Gotham, maybe. @Charlie Esser, that's CHARLIE ESLCR. But to the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing! There you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for connecting with us once again this week. Please, super connect with us once again. I have to go help my kids find their shoes.
Okay.
Okay.
You can always go. I'll close it out.
Okay. I will see ya.
See ya.
Okay, let's find the shoes, boys.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. just like Bortus, Charlie Esser is a family man. Bringing it all back to the Orville. Good night.